All right. Welcome back. Yes, same day. I'm going to remind you that when we graph exponential functions using transformations, it's the same as before. I'm just going to show you where all those things are. So a negative in front of the x is still reflecting over the y-axis. A negative in front of the whole thing is up and down, like flipped up or down. So let's watch what happens when, see how it says x minus h? Let's see what happens when I add an h into this equation. What happened? Yeah, it went to the right. What do you think happens when I go negative? It goes to the left. Now, here's the tricky part with this is that it says x minus h, which means that all of this is backwards from what you'd think. So when h is actually a minus, that's when it goes to the right, and when h is a plus, it goes to the left, backwards. Half of algebra 2 is figuring out when things are backwards and when things are straight. I mean forward. I don't know. Okay, so k equals 0. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it goes up and down. But I know what you're thinking. A is also what makes it go up and down. But did you notice that the asymptote down here? Actually, let me make an asymptote. All right. So this is my asymptote right here. This graph's never going to touch this line, even though it looks like it is, right? We did this last time. We zoomed in a lot. So now when I press play for K, it's the asymptote that's moving. The starting point is still 1 above, or in this case, 2 above, right? It's A above the asymptote. So there goes my asymptote. I'm moving it up and down. Now it's gone. That was so close to being at 0. I was hoping. Okay, so my asymptote is what changes with K. So let's write that all down. Okay, so here's my function. Again, x is still the power, and then it moves it left to right. Let's talk about those negatives that I said. Okay, so when the negative's in front, it flips over the x-axis. When the negative's up top, it reflects over the y-axis. We're not really going to do any stretches or shrinks because that actually has to do with where the starting point is and where the b value is, so it's a little bit different this time, but they still kind of exist. All right, okay, so let's graph 2 to the power of x minus 6 minus 7. This is kind of a little bit tricky because there's no a value here. So since there's no a value here, we're going to start at 1. So our y-intercept is up 1 from the axis of symmetry, and that's because there's no number here. Okay. The minus 6 means I move the graph to the right by 6, and the minus 7 means I'm going to move the asymptote down 7. And then 2 is my scale factor. It's my growth factor. So that means I'm going to double all of my y values. Kinda. I'm going to double every y value above the asymptote because my asymptote is my old x-axis. Okay, let's graph it. You don't need to see this. Hold on. Okay. So my actually. So down 7, 2, 3. This is my asymptote. Now, when we do asymptotes, we usually do them as dotted lines because they're not really part of the graph, but they're like kind of part of the graph, you know? So this is my asymptote is down 7. And then I'm going to draw this in bright yellow, which you're going to hate because you can't really see it, but I'm just going to move my y-axis to the right by 6. So this is where my y-axis is. So this is where 0, 0 used to be. Okay, so my y-intercept is up 1 from the asymptote, but over 6 from the normal. Okay, so my right 6, that's my y-axis going to the right 6. So there's my starting point. And then this is a height of 1. So I'm going to double that and make it a height of 2. And then I'm going to double that and make it a height of 4. And I can double that and make it a height of 8. And then I can double that and make it a height of 16 if it fits. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, it doesn't fit. Okay, and then we know it gets flatter because I'm going to divide by 2 basically. And so it ends up being super flat. It's kissing its electrons with the axis is, the asymptote, and then I go up. Hey, from last time, can you tell me the domain and the range of this? My domain is that it's all real numbers again. It'll always be that way in this chapter. No, it'll always be that way when we do exponential functions. It won't always be that way in this chapter. But until I teach you about logs, just do x as element integrals. And then y is greater than my asymptote, which is 7. Greater than the asymptote. Okay, let's do another one because I'm sure you're confused. All right, let's graph y equals 1/2 to the negative x plus 3. Normally when there's a fraction, we do the whole thing to the power of negative x, so we put in parentheses. You knew what I meant, but okay, so let's break this down. This negative up here is a reflection over the y-axis. So my y-intercept is still 1 because there's no number here. I'm not going to the right anything, but I'm going up 3, and I'm reflecting over the y-axis. So here's what it's going to look like. All right, so I'm going to move my asymptote up 3. And then my y-intercept is 1 above that. It didn't move left or right or anything, so it's just up here at 4. And then here's the fun part. Okay, ready? So I'm going to find a pencil. It's as easy as pie. That's backwards, but it's fine. So I'm going to sketch it. So the idea is that I would normally, right, it's 1/2. So that's my growth or my decay factor, I guess. Which means that I'm going to take every number and cut it in half, which means it's going to go 1/2. And so it'll be flat over here, and it'll be doubled this way, right? That's what the decay factor means. But I'm reflecting this entire thing over the y-axis. So I'm going to be going flat on this side and then doubling it here. That's what's going to happen. I wish I didn't do that to you, but it happens sometimes. Okay. I hope this made sense to you, but if it doesn't, just use Desmos. Like, Desmos graphs for you, so why wouldn't you? Ooh, let's do domain and range real quick. Okay, we know now that it's every number, and then y is more than the x-intercept. Y is more than 3. Okay, anyways, I hope this worked. Tell me if it didn't. I will do it again, or I'll do it a different way, or I'll do more examples or whatever. But email me or whatever if you need it. And I will talk to you next time. Okay, bye.